talk about. We'll just keep talking. We'll just keep talking. Just keep talking. Talking. For so long. Ow, we're babbling on. We're babbling on. Today, hi Babbles. Hey everybody. Today I'm joined by someone I met like basically the first few months I lived in New York, I think. And God, it's actually really emotional. You reached out to me about doing an art show in your living room, and it was called Living Room Gallery at the time.
Yeah.
It was your first. Was it your first art show?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was your first, it was like your first gallery. And then fast forward 9 years later, and we're here in your gallery in downtown Manhattan, Kapp Kapp Gallery. Without further ado, please welcome to the stage, Sammy Kapp.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a cold... Honestly, I feel like I might have just DM'd you, but a cold DM can turn into a fruitful friendship.
I know, it's crazy. We've known each other 9 years now.
That's crazy.
Is that possible?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I'm
it
like,
is.
no, there's no way we've crossed the 10-year threshold.
No.
That would be kind of horrifying. But
I haven't lived in New York 10 years yet, technically, but I'm close. Like,
how close are you?
I'm basically 9 years in.
Okay.
But I like to cheat it a little because I lived in New York for 2 summers before I lived here permanently.
And like hot
And I
people
add those
automatically get like an extra few years thrown onto that count. So you're above 10 years.
I'm
if you
at
ask
11
me.
really when you factor all that in. How long have you lived here? I guess longer than me because you went to NYU.
Yeah, and I descend from the great state of New York.
Yeah.
Which
Westchester.
Westchester, baby.
Where the hottest girls come from. My friend Drew is from there, I think. If I got that wrong.
If you've got your geography right. Well, don't ask me because I'm not an expert in local geography. Ask me like what the capital of Finland is, and
Oslo? No, that's Norway.
I'm like I've got to prove myself. But let's just leave that unanswered.
The capital of Finland.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because my grandfather would be really disappointed from
Is that your heritage?
beyond the grave.
Finnish?
No, not at all.
No, he just would be disappointed.
Yeah. Exactly. No, he was I have such a complicated family history, but I grew up with 8 grandparents. All my grandparents were divorced and remarried.
What?
And so this was my dad's stepdad, but he had a photographic memory and was like obsessed with his Harvard education. And my brother and I would go stay with him and my grandmother in South Carolina for like a couple weeks or a month. And he was like, your brains are not going to rot while you're in the South. He was like, so every night after dinner, he'd either like test us on geography, make us play chess with him.
Wow.
I mean,
so
it was
that's
funny.
How you two became so brilliant. Because I should say you share this gallery with your twin brother.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is that how the name Kapp Kapp is born?
Yes. I mean, yes. But there's like, I think it's a cute story because after graduating college, I was like,
you always wanted to pursue owning your own gallery. Is that the truth? From childhood?
No, but it's funny. I mean, I guess I didn't even have a sense that like art was something you could do in this capacity. But like, I think back to like, I think it was like junior or senior year of high school. We did this. There was this course we took that was intended to like replicate a college seminar, and it's like there was some assignment we got where we had to like pick a career for ourselves and like map out what that would look like if it would be sustainable to live. And
you picked gallerist?
Well, no, but I picked like I was gonna be the like director of MoMA, and like all this information on their like salaries and whatever is public information. So I like mapped out a life for myself like that. But I didn't even know like art history was something you could study. My high school had none of that, so I kind of just stumbled into it and like never got sick of it. And
so when you were in college,
ever
college.
worked in galleries.
God,
Yeah, like
that's crazy.
it is. It's really crazy. I just kind of like found the thing that worked for me and like never questioned it. But that's kind of who I
You were
am.
studying art history,
Yeah.
and then you just like took the gumption, took the initiative to start living room gallery.
Basically, yeah. I just was like, I think what really like drew me to being in galleries was like having a really messy relationship with my own art that I made, like because
Painting or what?
painting, sculpture, drawing. I was like always a terrible drawer. My brother could always draw. It would drive me crazy. But like we always made art growing up. Like
Yeah.
my brother and I took like one of the very early like animation courses that was offered when we were like 10 years old,
They
and that
offered
was that.
animation where at your school?
No, this was like extracurricular. We
Yeah.
were just like
Wow.
dorks. A
You are
friend
the
of a
cool girls of this city. Like
oh
I'm so
god, well,
honored to be here. It's
I wish
crazy.
I wish it felt like that when I was growing up, but yeah, we were such losers, really. But like,
Oh.
but no, it's cool looking back. But I was
Yeah.
like, no, we were such
No, why was
dorks.
childhood
Everyone
so
thought we were
hard for us
weird.
weirdos?
Yeah, I mean, weird was weird and gay. Those were probably the words I got called the
Yeah, it
most.
was always, "Are you gay?" Remember
Well,
that
no one even
question?
asked me. They're
Oh,
just
they
like,
were.
faggot. And then they still do that.
Yeah, they do that.
And
That
but
actually happens once in a while to me on the street. Someone will like yell faggot at me still. Not that
oh,
I'm like
same.
bothered,
No,
but
I've actually like just last week I got asked twice in the same night if I was straight, which I thought was
really,
really fascinating.
really. Well, I
Yeah.
was thinking on the train over here, which by the way, it's the day before Thanksgiving. You'd think New York City would be cleared out. It actually was insane to get here. The crowds and the malfunctioning trains were insane. But I had this thought on the train here where I was like, oh, gay guys basically.
Blabbling
I
on.
cut you off though. You were saying that your childhood people were calling you
Oh
faggot
yes. Yeah, yeah. Just like
in
yesterday, it's
Westchester.
crazy.
Oh, yesterday someone called you a faggot?
No,
Oh, it was just
probably
like yesterday.
honestly, but
Of course.
yeah, no. I grew up we grew up in Bedford, New York, which was like very waspy territory,
Yeah.
and we were like Jewish family, and not that there weren't Jews around, but like very conservative, low key, and
Yeah.
I think that like really became pervasive just like culturally. I mean, I like look back or I look at like high school students now and I'm like, oh wow, it must be nice that it's like cool to be
Yeah.
gay.
Well,
Whereas
Glee
like
changed everything.
I guess
Glee did.
so,
I mean, that
yeah.
really to me, it's like when I was in high school and when you were in high school,
Yeah.
like it still wasn't okay. And then I feel like Kurt Hummel like low key broke through and made it like completely fine.
I think so,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, just like one of the first characters that was openly gay on TV. But now I watch shows like Heartstopper on
I haven't seen it,
Netflix.
but
Oh,
I
it's
hear it's
so
cute.
cute. I literally, well, you know what? Hot take that the new season is just like not it. But I'm
Shit,
I'm
that
still
can
watching.
happen.
I'm still
Yeah.
watching. Literally cry at every episode. They're just like
You're a
it's
watcher.
okay.
You consume media, which I
I
appreciate. Not
do.
all
I
of the dolls
do.
are out there watching the shows
No,
anymore.
well, yeah, I don't watch that much TV. Honestly, like Netflix is the bane of my existence. Like
No,
I'll
it
only
really
watch
kind of
something
sucks.
on Netflix if I hear it's excellent.
There's
Like,
actually good stuff coming to Netflix this year,
yeah.
like Amelia Perez. Have you seen that yet?
Oh, I just watched it.
Did you like
Actually,
it?
I loved
A lot of
it.
people hated it. I loved it.
Well, I'm also among the small percentage that loves a musical,
Me too.
and this
Wait.
was a this was and it was a unique musical, but
It was unique. Have you seen Wicked yet?
I went to see Wicked, and actually, well,
What
I'm
happened? What are you about to say?
like the surprise of all surprises that I had to leave early, but nothing to do with the film.
Why
But
did you have to leave early?
it was a tense and stressful weekend,
Oh my
and
God.
I was just like, I saw this movie, I think Saturday night, and this was after, maybe it was Sunday night. Either way, like two people in my life that day where I was like on separate moments of the day I was worried were missing.
Oh my
I had
God,
to
Sammy,
find
I'm
two
so
people.
sorry
They're
to be
both
bringing this
okay.
up.
They're both
Okay.
okay.
Holy
There was
shit.
also a debacle at our opening the night before where someone, in protest, threw eggs at the artist who was in the midst of a
Are
performance.
you kidding me?
It's
In this
crazy,
very
right?
gallery?
Yeah, it's
Wait,
crazy, right?
what?
And so
That
there was
is
just a
crazy.
lot of emotion, and yeah, I was like, made it like 2 hours into the
And you
movie,
were
and I was like,
overwhelmed.
yeah, it was just the first time I'd been sitting still all
Yeah,
weekend,
I
and was like,
understand. Also, I was sobbing through that entire movie. Like,
oh
it's
my
an
God,
emotional
me
experience.
too. I've
Yeah.
also been waiting 20 years for that movie. I
Oh
was
my
like, I
God.
mean, I'll be going back to see
I've seen
it
it twice now. I'll
multiple
go with
times.
you. Like,
Let's
it's literally the
go.
best thing I've ever seen in
It's
my life.
so
It's so
beautiful.
good.
I had the pleasure of seeing Cynthia Erivo on
So did I
Broadway.
in Color
The Color
Purple.
Purple, yeah, it was
It
crazy.
was the best thing. I just said that about Wicked, but it was the best thing I've ever
He's
seen in my life.
taking it back. She is the best thing. I went to see. I bought like last minute tickets at the like tickets booth in Times Square for like night of performance. Was seated like third row orchestra, and I was just like
What?
going to see Jennifer Hudson. I was like,
Oh, I
I
didn't
was
see
like,
it with Jennifer Hudson.
I was like, oh, I will die to see Jennifer Hudson
Yeah.
live, because no one knew who Cynthia
I didn't know
Erivo
Cynthia Erivo,
was
but
at
then
the
she sings "I'm
time.
Here," and I was like, "That's actually the." I'm getting full body chills. Like, I've never been so moved by anything in my life. And like,
No,
I'm a
me
little
either.
monster. Like, I should be saying Gaga's #1, but like, nothing compares to Cynthia's "I'm Here," which won her an Emmy, Grammy, and Tony, by the way.
Yeah.
So if she
Oh.
wins an Oscar, she's done with EGOT.
She's sad
Yeah.
when she can retire.
know. And-
Yeah, but it was like as if Jennifer Hudson wasn't even in the show. I was like, forgot she
No.
was there
No
by
one
the
else
end.
was in
like
that show. I'm
the
sorry.
second act, it was full body chills. The entire second act, just like absolutely
Plus
crazy.
her acting, like her voice is obviously maybe the most beautiful instrument on the planet today,
Yeah.
but like her acting in Color Purple, which obviously the role is so dramatic that it's hard not to feel something. But I mean, again, in Wicked, like she's can really go there emotionally.
Oh,
Yeah.
I knew it was possible. Actually, uh, once we're off air, I'm
Yeah.
gonna. There's some epic video. This, I think, was to me what led to her getting this role in The Color Purple. There's this cameo she did in some. I'm not even sure if it was on West End or what this production was, but there's this performance of her singing a song called "I Can't Sing." Have you seen or heard of this?
No.
It's incredible. Just like,
Oh, we're doing this
don't
on
know
air.
what the context is. Something like she's auditioning for a American Idol type show, and
Wow.
sings a song. It's
Even
crazy.
she started
It's
with
crazy.
auditions for American Idol.
Well, I think that was the context of this show. God, I don't even know. I don't know anything about it. But I used to be such a YouTube dweeb, and now I'm
Of
like,
course.
spend my time consumed on TikTok and gay Twitter, and
Gay Twitter's
no
great.
more, not so
Twitter
many
is
YouTube
just, like,
deep
Grindr
dives
for
anymore.
A lot of gay guys. It, would
It
seem.
is. Oh my
Which
God.
I'm
It's
kind of like, we need to be here making funny random quips, not putting our tits out.
agreed.
But no shade. I guess I shouldn't shame.
I mean, do I consume the tits?
I consume the
Absolutely.
breast. Yes, of
Yes,
course I do.
absolutely. Get my best OnlyFans content. How else are you supposed to
It's
find
true.
creators?
No, Twitter actually is about sex, and I don't know why I tried to shame that. Okay, wait. So before we go any further,
Yes.
we have a few business initiatives to proceed with.
Yes.
The first being the 8, which is Carrie, Miranda, Charlotte, Samantha, Hannah, Shoshana, Jessa, Marnie. Who are you in the 8 today? I mean, Charlotte is an obvious answer because she's a gallerina.
True. Very
But
true.
That doesn't have to be your path.
And Marnie too, I
Marnie too.
suppose. You know, I've thought a lot about this, not even for the context of this conversation today.
Yeah, but just I mean,
this
all
is
the
a
smartest
question
girls
that-
have this on their mind every day.
Exactly.
That's why we ask it.
And honestly, I think like I'm just gonna leave the girls out of it, because I think they're. I mean,
I completely respect that. The Sex and the City girls are the first order of business.
yeah, and it's
ultimately.
no disrespect to the
No.
girls crew, because I love them, but
You just get it. I'm sorry.
but I feel like
You
they're all. I don't know if there's any one true representation as
No, we're
by
all
one
them.
of the
We're all of
characters.
them.
Yeah, they're all caricatures in
But
some way.
if you had
So I think really I'm let me see. I like to put this in terms of like my astrological chart,
Oh,
where I'd say
okay.
I'm
What
probably
are you?
like a Charlotte
Oh, I see.
rising. And oh God,
No,
no.
you're a
See,
Charlotte
I feel like
Rising. You are, because you
yeah.
have the gallery quality, and you also have like the purity and the beauty, and like
Yeah, either I consider myself like Charlotte Carey mostly,
yeah,
like
you have a lot of Carrie in you.
hopeless
Maybe Carrie
romantic,
Sun.
innocence. But yeah, then there's like Samantha Moon, but God, I have
Because you
no
have that wild
Miranda in
side.
me. I do.
You
My
actually do have a
mouth
little
is the
Miranda in you. I have to
most.
push back.
Oh
I mean,
wow,
in a good
okay.
way. So do
I don't
I.
take it as an
No,
insult.
like
I
I see
just
a Mirandan side to you as well.
okay.
You're really kind of an equal blend when it
I'll
comes down
take
to it.
it. Yeah, no, I have the mouth of Samantha, the heart of Charlotte, and maybe the mind of Carrie. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have the heart of Charlotte
And
too.
the
I'm like, can we
lesbian
go
soul of
monogamous? Yeah,
Miranda.
I have the rage of Miranda.
Mm,
I have the fabulosity of Carrie.
true.
I have the heart of Charlotte, and I
Mm.
do have the sort of sex addiction of Samantha.
Um, true.
Okay, and then second order of business is what are you babbling on about today? And this is an
Okay,
interesting
so
one.
yes, this is obviously well, I think it says a lot about me and Hilton,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And
It's an interesting.
ultimately we can just go off the cuff, but our mostly my desire was a conversation about Artpop, Lady
Yeah.
Gaga's Artpop,
Yeah.
iconic album, my
Yeah.
favorite Gaga era, and
Okay.
I don't think it's off limits today.
No,
but,
it's not off limits.
but we've pivoted a bit as you know, this podcast is a hot commodity and friends want
Someone
to be
else-
on this show.
So I sort of screwed up. Someone else, a dear friend, had requested art pop as their topic months ago, before the podcast was even live. Actually, this would have been back in sometime in the spring or early summer, and I had given it to her. And then you had requested art pop, and I had said, of course. And then I thought for a second, I was like, oh fuck, I've already promised art pop. But you had said something really interesting looking back at your texts. You were like, I want to talk about art and I want to talk about pop.
Yes.
And I thought, what if we do art and pop?
Yeah, I mean, both things that consume pretty much my entire existence.
Totally,
So what
'cause-
else would be more appropriate?
Exactly.
And you know, I think it's no coincidence that Gaga named her album that.
Yeah, because it is. Would you consider the album Art Pop to be the intersection of the two worlds of art and pop? Or
you know, that's a
maybe
good
it's-
question. I feel like maybe at the time.
At the time.
I
'Cause
mean,
there
it was
the
like
Jeff Koons
exactly
at the opening party
exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he
Someone
did
put their
the
cup
album
on it.
cover too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that like blue ball she's got
I
like
love
in
that
her
album cover.
crotch.
It might be
I
my
do
favorite of
too.
her album covers.
It's mine, I think. Honestly, between that or like, oh god, there's.
It's hard to choose. I mean,
such a
the
loser.
Fame monster
Yeah,
actually is kind
yeah.
of undeniable.
And you
for
know,
album
I
art
think the
cover.
Chromatica album cover doesn't get
Oh
enough
fuck!
love.
Wait, why did I not
right?
think of that?
Uh,
We're doing a Chromatica episode 2 as well. I mean, you're a little monster, so we need to we need to talk art world because I have a lot of
Yes.
questions about like how it works and also
Yes.
like I want to hear about how you ended up getting this beautiful gallery in
yeah.
downtown Manhattan.
Well, you know what? I'm proud of myself for remembering to go back to this question because we both probably just have crippling ADHD and go on like 15 tangents.
Yeah.
But you asked where the gallery got its name, which it is obvious in some way. I'm a twin and my last name is Kapp, so Kapp Kapp is the name of the gallery. But out of college, I was working at a gallery on the Upper East Side, Levy Gorvy. My brother was working at a gallery in Midtown called Marion Goodman, a legendary art gallery who actually just moved to this neighborhood.
What neighborhood is this? Like,
Well, the galleries call it Tribeca.
Okay.
Now, like the real estate agents are branding it as Tribeca, like between Chinatown and
Right.
Tribeca.
I did not know
I
that was
kind of
even an
like
option.
just Becca. We're like just we are literally
Tribeca.
below Canal, and that's kind of it. It's to me just like South Soho. Basically,
Yeah.
is like you go a block up from Canal, and you're in Soho, and
Yeah.
the buildings look the same down here. But
Another term for the neighborhood could be the area where my ex-boyfriend's old office was.
oh
Yeah.
wow, okay, so hell, you mean?
No, I mean all love, and that office was amazing. They had like rosé on tap.
Oh,
But yeah, that is what I
lovely.
think of when I'm over here.
And the audience should be aware that Hilton and I are drinking a delicious
It's
orange wine
lovely,
right
which we
now.
didn't sell you. I don't remember if you're aware. Actually, you are, because I remember coming from the wine shop to meet
Oh
you one night.
yes.
I got fired. Did you know?
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear
Do you know how it
that.
happened? Obviously, you
No.
wouldn't. Someone came in 2 minutes before close and asked for the Pinot Noir, and listeners won't be able to see this, and I'm pretty sure I've already shared this story on the podcast, but I point to the Pinot Noir silently and I go like this. And I do a sort of swirling of my hand butler gesture,
Yes.
and she complained and I got
Wow.
fired.
Did she think it was passive aggressive? Like
I
what was
got
the
well, in her defense, I didn't really speak to her.
Okay,
I was,
gotcha.
like, I mean, from the art world, like some of us can be a huge bitch now and then,
True, but
myself included.
true,
But I shouldn't have been fired. But also, I hated that job, and
Yeah.
I'm really thankful to be out of it.
Well, I'm glad
It
for
was
you
getting in the
to
way
be
of my
out
social
of
life.
there. Yeah.
know?
Well, things happen for a reason, Hilton. And
Totally.
anyone who does not understand your glorious regal wave, not deserving of
No.
of your presence
It
in
was
their
all straight guys
wine
there. It was like
shop.
really impossible. Although I have one girly there. Probably none of them are listening to this, but if you are, Amy, shout out to you. I love
Shout
you.
out,
Yeah.
Amy.
Anyway, I keep cutting you off. So Kapp Kapp,
Kapp Kapp,
you guys
yes.
were working.
So
at
my brother and I were
galleries.
both working at galleries. My then boyfriend Harry was
Yes.
also working at a gallery in Chelsea, Jack Shainman Gallery, and his last name was Feldman. And I had a coworker who was people just thought it was hilarious. Like, I mean, and it was hilarious. Between these like three junior employees, we just had like all the art world tea. It was like
Oh, you guys were aware of the tea.
oh, of course. And like and the intersection between those three galleries was like very disparate. Like the collectors were different. There was some overlap, but like it was a wide cast of the net of the art world. So
Oh my god,
we
I
just
need
knew
to
like
hear this.
everything
I
that
need to,
was
'cause
going
I'm sure there's a lot
on.
of crazy shit going on. Because the art world, no shade to the art world. Obviously, I'm an artist, and like I love the chicness of this gallery, and I love artists. But there's the art world is pretty synonymous with like the money world, it
Yeah.
seems, and it's like a lot about like status and money. And I think in that way, I know nothing, by the way, I'm spewing out my ass, but
No.
like I bet there's a lot of assholes.
Oh, a lot of assholes. Equally, like you could be pleasantly surprised
lot of good
when
people,
someone's
too.
just wonderful because you're never expecting it. But yeah, a lot of assholes, a lot of like
Like
scenes out
affairs
of a
and stuff?
movie.
Like
Oh my
what's
god,
the tea
yes.
unit?
And
There's
like,
affairs and
oh
there's
my god, yes. I actually, I like. I
mean,
think
you obviously
I probably
can't share
can't talk about
names.
this
No,
on
no.
the show, but yeah, the gallery I used to work for, the owner ended up in this
I can also babble
very
this out.
public
Oh, it's public.
affair. Yes.
Oh.
It was a wild time to be there, and it's like scenes out of movies.
Really?
Oh, really? I mean,
Scenes from
like
a marriage.
just like Devil Wears Prada behavior. And
That's what my like knowledge of the art world is like
Yeah.
when Anne Hathaway goes to that art party to like deliver
Exactly.
that thing to that guy.
yeah, exactly. Christian, maybe was his
Christian,
name.
yeah. We both knew his name. Why did I
yes.
pretend not to?
It's like that. Not always or not exactly, but like those upper crust art galleries when you're like selling work to the top like 0.01% is like you see a lot of crazy shit, hear a lot of crazy demands.
Like people eating sushi off naked girls type thing.
You know, that I didn't hear about, but like that would be tame. Like, oh, just wild demands.
Oh my
like
God.
someone who wanted their artwork framed, but also wanted to see the back of the artwork at the same time. So they insist on having high res images taken and then having the framer make a vinyl of the back of the artwork and put it on the back of the frame, just so if they ever wanted to show somebody the back of the artwork, they could take this frame
Which
off
is the
the
back
wall.
of the artwork like wood panels of a canvas?
I think in this case it was, and for some reason they were just heart set on it, and so we just had to like make it happen overnight. Yeah,
they
it's
did the right thing.
yeah, it's like it can just be such high intensity, and my boss and I we had this like running joke. There was this like one of the artists we worked with was Adrian Piper, this like kind of legendary like 60s 70s like New York conceptual like performance artist, and she had this piece, I think she made it about the Vietnam War, and it was just called It's Just Art. And so anytime we were like felt like we were in a life or death situation, we were like, it's just art, like no one's gonna die if they don't get this email by the end of the day. It's like it's just all so ridiculous.
I mean, email, don't even get me started. Like I can't find an email for the life. Like I miss emails. Like don't bother trying to email me. I'll never get it.
Me too. Just kidding, of course.
No, same. Like please email me.
Please email both of us.
We would love it.
I'm Sam at kappkapp.com.
And I'm Dresden Hilton at gmail.com, which obviously I used to be Hilton S Dresden at Gmail, but no one ever remembered the S, so Lord knows what I missed.
Yes, if you need booking accommodations at the Hilton Hotel in Dresden, you know
I've
who
been
to
getting
email.
like a lot of new requests.
I was just talking about this last night. I find this so funny.
Who were you telling? A hot bi guy who needs a girlfriend slash boyfriend?
A hot gay guy. But I was saying we were planning on doing this interview conversation for the podcast, and I was like, oh, my friend Hilton. He was like, oh, he was like, Hilton. I was like, yeah, like Paris Hilton. He was like, or like Hilton Alls. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, that is so much more of an intellectual connection to make. But I was like, let me let you in on why my association is just naturally Paris Hilton. And of course it's because of the Hilton Hotel in Dresden. It's
that's funny as
but Hilton
fuck.
Alls, maybe I'll use that next time. I think it really gives you the cred.
There's an event coming up with Hilton Alls and Daniel Craig. I think Hilton Alls is interviewing him. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's
for that Luca Guadagnino movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and go because Daniel Craig is my number one.
Oh wow,
sexual attraction.
I used to see him in Brooklyn Heights.
What?
He and Rachel Weisz lived there together.
Yeah. Oh my God.
For listeners, Henry Tavern on Henry Street, Brooklyn Heights is their spot.
Oh my God!
I saw Anderson Cooper there on a grinder date.
What?
It's just like a dark.
Who was his grinder date?
Some like little college-age twink.
Oh,
I mean the college age is an assumption, but
so
age gap vibe.
Age gap. I kind of like low-key can't get into someone unless there's age gap at this point. Like I need that.
Yeah.
As in me being the younger one.
Yeah. No, at least I'm not interested in boys, and maybe that's not something I even have to verbalize or brag about. But yeah, there's a lot of boys out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of boys, and like I only need the men.
Okay.
Wait, so Kapp Kapp.
Kapp Kapp, yes. I was just about to go back to this.
This is the perfect way to tell a story, I feel, where it like deviates and comes back. Like those are the best stories.
Well, this is the story of my life. Long-winded storyteller.
I assume within this story we discover how you came to own this fabulous space.
Yeah. And you know, let's go back to the boyfriend Harry,
who I happen to know as well.
Yeah. So I had this like fabulous Jewish coworker who was always like, "Oh my God, Sammy! Like, when are you guys gonna quit and open Kapp Kapp and Feldman?" And just
Oh,
because she and all my friends, my coworkers, they knew how like funny and unique a situation it was that like the two closest people to me in my life were also working at New York City art
isn't that
galleries.
crazy? Like, how did you all land those jobs? You just like nailed the interview, I guess.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, some of
these are
it,
pretty hard to attain
yeah,
jobs.
some of it was just being in New York. I think like I had the luxury of being at NYU and like being in New York City as a student when most people who would be eventually looking for those same entry level jobs were still in their colleges or whatever outside of the city.
Yeah,
So I started like my job came from an internship, and
yeah.
I've been working
That's how I
there
started
like
it
maybe
out
a
too.
full year before while I was still in my senior year undergrad. And they they just happened to love me, and I can't blame
Well, of
them
course.
for
I mean, you
that.
have a very disarming charm where it's like, oh,
Oh,
I can relax.
you,
You know what I mean?
people tell me that.
Yeah.
At the same time, some people are scared of me, and I love that too.
Same. I think we share both of those sides where it's like we can be very disarmingly charming and put people at ease, but we also can come across as a little intimidating,
Yeah,
quite frankly.
and well, actually, are you a Sagittarius or
I'm
you're
actually a Scorpio, and I
okay?
just celebrated my birthday a week ago today.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, and you were there
And
for
Hilton
karaoke.
looked fabulous. I actually, somebody, whether or not they were associated with your celebration, was singing Speechless by
Oh yes,
Gaga.
that was part of my
Okay.
contingent. That was
And
my
I was
dear
like,
friend Natalie Price. Shout out, she's a former guest on the pod.
oh, you killed that, Natalie.
She
And
actually.
I have not stopped listening to that song since then. I walked out and I was like singing it all
Yeah,
night.
I
And
was listening to Summer Boy as I walked into the room today.
an excellent
Yeah.
choice, also. Well, okay,
Yeah,
backtracking.
backtracking. Kapp Kapp and
Kapp
Feldman,
Kapp and
your
Feldman,
coworker.
yes. Yeah, so after working at this gallery for 4 or 5 years, my then boyfriend Harry wanted to take a job in Philadelphia, and me just being hopeless, one romantic, two optimist.
And by the way, you guys had the most fabulous apartment in Brooklyn
Oh,
Heights.
it was so
I actually
beautiful.
like am so gagged by that place. I don't understand how that existed.
Oh, I mean, when we had two friends when we were leaving that apartment that we were like, we want it.
Yeah.
And actually, when we left, two of our friends did move into that apartment.
Are
It
they
was a
still
hot
there?
commodity. Then they were like, can we have your trash can too? I was like, we're
Your
not
trash
dying. We're
can.
just moving. It was a beautiful. I still have it. What is
It's
it?
a
Simple
nice trash can.
Human. It was a
Oh,
nice trash
okay.
can.
But simple human, like buy your own. Like it's not like it's one
Exactly.
of a kind.
No, it's like we're just moving. We're not
Like don't look
dying.
a gift horse in the mouth. Which I
Exactly.
recently figured out the meaning of that phrase. It took me a while to get there. I guess
Hilton's just
people.
examining all horses anyway.
Well, that's what I didn't get. I was like, what? But then I was like, oh, I guess like people look at horses in the mouth to assess their health or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
It's like a
Okay.
way of assessing a horse's health or like virility. I don't know. It's like looking.
Horse girls, let us know in the
Horse
comments.
girls, please comment. We're waiting for
Please.
your
We're
feedback.
begging. We're begging. Or send us an email now that you have our contact information. Let us know. We'll be eagerly awaiting. And maybe we'll see it. Maybe
We will. I
not.
mean, you can respond to the babbling on email. I feel like not everyone knows
Oh,
that, and like
I
I
didn't know
receive
that.
those, and like
Wow.
I'm. It's always a delight when people do respond.
Okay, wow. Then
Yeah,
someone please respond and
yeah.
tell us about horses. Even other fun facts.
Well, my
How do you
grandma
braid
had
a
a
horse's
horse farm.
tail?
Did you know that?
Wow,
Yeah.
I
So like I
didn't
grew
know
up
that.
around horses, and they can die very easily of intestinal tangling. Like
Whoa.
horses can get their intestines tangled out of nowhere and just die, and there's no way to save them. And that happened to my grandmother's favorite horse, Wuss.
Oh,
Yeah, his name was Wuss.
rest in power
Rest in power, Wuss.
was. Well, let. I'm gonna get through this
Yeah,
one
let's
way
do
or
this.
another.
I have
Hilton.
like I have a fetish for cutting people off. So,
And I have a fetish for being distracted. So,
but I'm learning so much.
you are, it's true. And
Yeah,
as am I.
yeah.
Wuss, I'll never
Wuss. Don't
forget
forget
you.
wuss.
Never forget you.
So Kapp Kapp comes from.
Yeah, so my then boyfriend moved to Philly, or wanted to move to Philly to take a job with his family's company. And I was just like, at that point, knew I wanted to open a gallery, and was like, okay, cool, like I'll move to Philly with you and I'll start my gallery there, which is exactly what I did. And
Did your
knew
brother move too?
he
No.
didn't. Yeah, a funny piece of the like gallery lore is that it was really just me doing it at first. My brother was always kind of a creative partner, but not involved in the day to day by any means. And it was really a struggle at first to. I was thinking so long and hard about what I wanted the name of this gallery to be, and I really like I had like a distant relationship with my dad growing up, and now we're
Same.
very close. But I didn't have much of a connection to the name Cap, so I really didn't think I wanted it to be called Cap,
Yeah.
or anything to do with my last name. And um, at some point, Harry and I were talking about the Cap Cap and Feldman joke, and he was like, "What if you just call it Cap Cap?" I was like, "That is so cute."
It's
It's
cute
like
as fuck.
it's not my name, but it is at the same time. It's got like a little punch to
It
it.
has a punch and it makes me think about like capping something off. You know, when you like finish something, and it also makes me think about like the caps of a pen. Like it's just
The puns are
the puns are
endless.
endless, the references are endless.
Yeah,
Like it really just works.
it
Cap cap. And
works.
also the
Yes.
k and p are both really great consonants.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Um, and interestingly, though, I wasn't as familiar with this, like my own family history at the time, but my great grandfather and his brother had a record label called Kapp Records.
Oh.
And so there was this kind of original Kapp brother duo in the like
Oh my
40s,
god.
50s,
Another
60s
full circle
in
moment.
Chicago originally, and then New York. And as I got more familiar with the history, it just totally became this like special connection. So we're, I guess, second generation of Kapp brothers running a business together.
And
But
so, how do you then make it? How do you? Oh, I mean, I don't want to ask something that you don't want to share, but like, how did you come to own such a fabulous space? I mean, this is crazy. It's
yeah, I mean,
beautiful.
it's been a journey. So I opened this small space in Philadelphia. It was so charming. It was in uh, pre-podcast recording. Hilton and I were discussing the landscape of Philadelphia, and I was
Yeah,
like, I moved there thinking with this illusion that it was this big city, and it's small. People call it a village, and it having lived there for a couple of years, I
I've
can
never
attest
had the
to its
pleasure of
villageness.
Philly's delights.
Well, for both Hilton and all the listeners out there, go for a weekend to Philadelphia. It's lovely. There's some incredible art to see. The museum collections are wonderful. There's
Really?
great food, but you can really get a really great taste for the city in just a few days. And I think as a lifelong New Yorker, it just was a little small
Nice
for
break.
me.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it was at first,
Everyone
honestly.
needs a break now and
Yeah,
then.
no, it's true. And like you leave New York and come back with, or for me at least, came back with a new love and
When
passion
you
for
leave
this
New
city.
York, you find upon return that you love it even more. I
Yeah,
every time I leave, I find that, and I'm like, oh, like I thought I was over it, but I actually, like, I've never been more under it.
yeah.
You know, like I need New York.
Yeah, and no better way to get over someone or something than getting under something. And
Total.
I'm back
Did
under New
Samantha say
York.
that? Yeah.
She should have
She
if she
should.
didn't.
God, I wish she had the opportunity to. I wish she was on and just like that more than anything. I mean,
Wow.
except for the time she was on, which was the worst day of my life. Like that scene was hell. I don't know if you recall.
Wait, which scene?
Samantha comes back for a scene. Do you remember this?
Oh yes,
It's hell on
yeah.
earth. Like it's
No,
awkward and weird.
it's depressing.
Yeah,
Yeah. I hope she got a fat check for that cameo though.
me
It's
too.
so
I mean, I'm
sad
sure.
when
I
they
think
have
she
the.
got 1 million. I thought I heard.
Oh, okay. Well,
Maybe
that's
I'm just
good.
pulling that
That's
out of my.
good.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. She deserves it.
Yeah, at
She's
least.
everything. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, all parties involved are everything, and I'm not claiming to take any sort of side, but I love them all.
I
I'll
love
just
them
say
all
that.
too. I mean, original stage mom, Kim Cattrall and Ice
She,
Princess.
oh,
Um,
Ice Princess is crazy. I happen to have recently rewatched it. It's
wow.
fucking crazy. Michelle Trachtenberg delivers in that, but outside of that, I don't think she's a good actress.
No,
I
she's
mean,
got
Gossip
like
Girl. Gossip. Actually,
yeah.
that's what I meant to say. Gossip Girl. She's amazing. She's like not that good in Ice Princess. That's what I
No,
meant to say.
no. And the role didn't really call that much from her, ask that much from
No.
her.
Hayden
Casey
Panettiere kind of
Carlisle.
steals
Wow,
the
this
show there.
agreed.
And
Yeah,
Kim, obviously.
and
Oh,
Kim,
and
of
Joan
course.
Cusack.
Oh wow,
Actually, Michelle is
Joan.
like laughably horrible because she's surrounded by three of the
True,
greats.
so true. We're praying for you, Hayden Panettiere. We're praying for
Is she
you.
okay? What's her deal these days?
No, have you not seen anything about
No,
this? Oh
no,
my
I'm
God,
not
there's some
aware.
like recent interviews with her. I think People
Wait, what
Magazine put
happened?
something
Is she a
out.
Trump supporter?
Oh my God, no. I mean, maybe, but she's in like a state of. And it seems like she's addicted to
Oh
something.
no! Oh
Maybe just
no!
alcohol, but there's
Oh,
some recent interview where she's like practically incoherent, like slurring
oh
her words. I
no!
think this was
Oh
like a People
god!
Magazine
Oh
thing,
god! This is not
but
good.
then people were like, "How could People Magazine even put this
I mean,
out?
that
Like,
is
it's so
crazy that People Magazine
crazy."
would put something like that out.
Yeah.
That's really not appropriate.
No, she's been struggling, but we're praying for you anyway, Hayden. I mean, praying for you nonetheless
We
all
always
along.
pray for Hayden.
Racing
We do that every night.
Stripes.
Racing Stripes.
You're a
Hero, which I
goddess,
never
a goddess
saw.
of the aughts
No, she's
cinema.
one of the aughts. I almost said
Um,
autistic, but that's
no,
not what I meant.
no, that's for a different podcast.
Different one.
Yes,
Okay, so
Dr. Drew, call
Dr.
us.
So to wrap up the story of Kapp Kapp, you leave Philly, you
Yes.
come back.
Well, yeah. So after like it was less than a year actually having the space in Philly, I just at least like working with artists, you sort of there are certain like geographies or territories where like having representation of an artist can be considered exclusive, and New York is one, London or Europe is kind of another zone, Asia, and then West Coast, some galleries have like exclusive West Coast representation
I
of
see.
artists.
Yeah.
And so having just a gallery in Philadelphia, I felt very vulnerable, where we had projects with artists slotted, and um,
Oh,
this
but
is
it was like
a
an East Coast thing, and New York galleries would gobble them
yeah.
up. Yeah.
Or we had no way to prevent galleries from just like coming in and offering the artists we were working with shows at their galleries in New York,
Right.
and
Which is obviously a more
the stage here is just
a
bigger,
bigger
and
stage of a
the way
city.
people engage with art in New York is just different than Philadelphia, where um, Philadelphia has a very, very small gallery scene. And so the city itself just like isn't that acquainted with engaging with art galleries.
Right.
And so,
It's a hard niche to break into if you're not. I mean, even as someone like myself who is tangentially, aware of the art world, I still feel a little like alienated from it. Like I don't know anything. I mean, I know there's blue check galleries like David Zwirner and whatever the other big ones are. I actually don't
Yeah,
know any of them.
Gagosian,
Gagosian,
Hauser and Wirth,
yeah,
Pace. Those are kind of the like
Pace.
big dogs.
But
The big
like those are the big
dogs.
dogs. But like I basically know nothing except for the Devil Wears Prada scene with Anne and Christian.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a like niche little like esoteric world, and even like I think popular media, there are no kind of accurate representations of like what this
Maybe that
world
would be a
looks
great
like.
screenplay, like
I
a dark, dry comedy about the art
I
world.
think it would. It's
I'm gonna write that, and you're gonna be the consult on it.
okay, wonderful. I would love to do
That
that.
might be heaven.
Actually, Steve Martin wrote like at least one or two books about they were like novels, but about the New York art
Steve
world.
Martin knows about it.
Oh, I
Is
mean, he's
he?
a big collector,
Oh,
a
is
big
he?
art
Okay.
collector, but
Yeah.
yeah, I guess fancies himself an author also. I've read at least one of them, if not both,
Was it
in
good?
college. At the time it was. I'd be curious to revisit it
I
and see
mean,
how
Cheaper
the
by the
like
Dozen is
references hold up.
canon. Like,
It
we
is.
do celebrate Steve for his work on Cheaper by the Dozen and
We
Cheaper by the Dozen
do.
too, and I'm sure
Yes.
like all the earlier stuff that everyone loves him for.
Yes. But all we know him for is that.
That's what we know him for.
But otherwise there really are no like accurate to me representations of like what this world looks like because it's very exclusive, and I think many galleries want to keep it that way, or
I
it's
mean, the
not just
Mystique. You can
galleries,
never
but
underestimate the power of Mystique. Let me just say
no,
that.
it's true. And I mean, look at the row, look at
Look
Hermes.
at the
It's like
row. Look at
you keep people
Hermes.
on the outside and they want to get in even more.
What else has Mystique? Movie
Besides us,
Pass.
of course, yes,
Oh, yeah.
Movie Pass. Yeah, they're like, yeah, Rest in Power, Movie
This
Pass
is our
too.
movie pass. I thought it came back.
Did it? Oh, I don't
But that's the
know.
thing is the mystique is around. It's like, is it back? Is it not?
Oh, I've been mooching off my friend Rex's Regal Pass,
Oh, so
which
I
is
went to
wonderful.
Regal.
Is that where you saw
Well,
Wicked?
Tuesdays are a big day for movie theaters. I don't pay
Mm.
for any sort of Regal or AMC thing, but even if you don't pay and you sign up for the free tier, you can go to Regal or AMC for $8 to $10 movies on
Wow.
Tuesdays, and then Alamo Drafthouse also does like a $10 movie Tuesday. So, and you don't have to have any sort of membership. So.
Okay, I do kind of stand the Alamo Draft House.
So do I.
will say.
So do I.
I had a really actually this comes right back to babbling on. I had a very depressing start to my year, like middle chunk of my year, breakup, death, just lots of craziness.
Breakup and death is the 1-2 punch of disaster, and I
Yeah.
unfortunately have also experienced that combination.
Yeah, it's brutal, and I was just I had to keep doing things that made me happy, and so one of those things I'd be like, oh, it's 7 o'clock. What do I feel like doing for dinner tonight? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the Alamo and see a movie
That is
and
the
get
best
some
way
like
to eat dinner with a
buffalo
movie in front of you.
cauliflower, like chicken fingers.
Their
and
pretzel with the queso is one of
Ooh,
the
I
great
haven't
things on the
tried
menu.
it
Oh, do
actually. I'm a
that.
creature of comfort and just like always get the same thing.
Yeah, same.
But among my my summer like self love habits was frequent trips to the Met, and I would go get lunch at my favorite Butterfield Market, best chicken salad in New York City, possibly
Really?
the country.
Is that a chicken
Honestly,
Caesar?
no, it's their tarragon chicken salad. It's delicious. Bethany Frankel, get on it, bitch, because Round Swamp does not hold up. There's Granny Smith apples in it,
Oh,
but like
you know it's correct. Is it Granny Smith green or red?
green.
Okay, thank God, because green is my tea, red is not my tea.
No, same.
I mean, I'll eat a
honestly.
red, but
Yeah.
it's too like grainy.
I feel the same way. But it's delicious. Highly recommend. And then I would go sit in Central Park by myself, and the voice of Hilton kept me company
You
for
were
many
listening?
days. Oh my God,
that's
yes.
so sweet.
Actually, I don't think it was this day. I had to stop this at some point in like June or July. I was like, one day I was like reading a book, I think, and fell asleep in Central Park, like on my stomach. I had like I took my shirt off. I was like And for the listeners who can't see me, which is every listener. I'm quite fair skinned, and yeah, I fell asleep and didn't realize. Oh yeah, I woke up like an hour and a half
Oh
later, and I was like,
no.
"Where am I?" And
Oh
opened my
my
eyes. I was
god.
like, lifted my head up, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like that just stung when my
Oh
back moved.
no.
So I had the craziest. I still have the tan line on the back of my thighs. It is
Yeah.
crazy. It will haunt me for the
Oh,
rest
the
of my life.
back of thigh burns are
Yeah,
among the
but my
worst.
back was like tomato
Yeah,
red.
that happens to me. I have irreparable sun damage, according to the last dermatologist I saw, on like
Wow,
most of my body,
wow.
because I've gotten a lot of severe sunburns. I thought everyone was doing that. Like, I thought we all as kids got like really bad sunburns all the time, but it sounds like most people were like, "Oh, I've been using sunscreen every day." I'm like, "Fuck you."
Oh, they're lying. They
I know.
definitely are lying. Well, I got lots of sunburn. The only comparable scarring moment for me, as happened this summer. I was like, this was high school, I think. Went to the beach with my brother and a friend, and the way I put on sunscreen, I'd like missed a splotch like
Yeah, and then you had a
on my
welt.
stomach. I'm not. I don't even remember if it burned, but the way the like tan settled in, I just had like what looked like a shrimp on my stomach. That was like where I didn't put on sunscreen.
Yep.
I think there was also a part on my like rib cage where like you could see my fingers from where I was like rubbing in the sunscreen and clearly missed a spot. So I had like sort of a handprint and then like
Yep.
a shrimp on my stomach.
I had Pangea on my back after attempting to use spray sunscreen, which doesn't work.
Oh
And you know
wow.
Pangea, the
Yes, of
original continent,
course.
and like it was fucked. Anyway, I want to move into our pop conversation, so I
Okay,
want to
yes.
close the loop on Kapp Kapp.
Yes,
So
okay.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
fast forward through this. Okay. It was like less than a year opening Cap Cap. I was like one just like itching to do something in New York, but two was just like keenly aware that having some presence in New York would kind of defend our ability to work with these great artists that we were interested in working with, who
yeah.
were interested in working with us. And so it was January of 2020. We opened the gallery in June 2019.
Okay.
January 2020, we opened a small project space in New York, just a couple blocks down from here on Broadway,
Oh, and then
368
COVID
Broadway.
hits.
Yeah, we had one show in that space before COVID, or before COVID lockdowns. And then our second show we opened and nobody saw it. But we just kept putting up shows in that space, and eventually we were able to kind of have like safe openings and allow people to come in. I think it started by like an appointment only basis, and it just became really clear when between having these two spaces, one in New York and one in Philly, that the amount of like traffic and interest in the space in New York was just tenfold compared to what it
Yeah.
was in Philly. And so after about like a year or two of operating both spaces, my brother and I just kind of made the decision. Also, running two spaces kind of prevented us from having one great space because we
Yeah.
had two rents and
Yeah.
two programs to upkeep. And so at some point we started considering shutting down the Philadelphia location, shutting down the project space, and just kind of consolidating into one better
And so
space.
when did
And
this space open?
I think we opened this space January 2022.
Okay.
It's 2024 now.
Which, by the way, I
Yeah.
have a drawing series that I'm gonna need you to come check out and see if we
Good.
can. Babbling.
You were in my first ever art show, Hilton.
Like
My
I know,
interest in your
I
work
know.
has
I
never
mean,
faded.
God, it's just crazy. I actually am like really emotional thinking about it. Just like I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of myself. At like, look at it. We're still in New York these many years later, and it's and you know we're drinking wine at this in this
Yes.
beautiful room surrounded by this amazing art. Which at the end of the episode, I'll ask to hear like who you're exhibiting now, who's coming up, so we can promote that. But before we do that, this episode is art and pop.
And pop,
And I
though.
think we need to talk pop.
Yeah, and though, I think pop has trickled into this conversation just
trickled.
naturally. I mean, it's just something I have a very distinct memory of you. We were together the day Joanne came out.
Is that
And
right?
yes, we went to some you were telling me your favorite song was Grigio Girls at the time, which honestly, like,
I'm so glad I said that then.
excellent taste, because that's still one of my favorites.
Well, you
on
know
that
why I
album.
would say that? Like, Egregia Girls is not my favorite anymore, but I would say I probably said that because I love to get behind a song with a message I can really stand with, which is like, there we go with sisterhood.
Yes.
And like those nights where you just drink a bottle of wine with your friends and yeah, I mean, like, I love that message. In the same way that, like, You and I is probably my favorite Gaga song of all time because I love the concept of, like,
a mermaid getting fucked by a hot guy.
Taylor Kinney. May
oh my
he
god!
continue. You know,
was
they
that
were
him?
engaged.
I didn't realize
yeah,
that
that's
was
where
him.
they met
though.
in the music video.
Way. Oh
He's
my
the
god.
hottest to ever do it.
Honestly, the
His
early
Gagatian.
like gay awakening for me, like
Same.
that music video,
Same,
scene
same.
specifically.
I mean, Gaga's music videos at that time in high school, I was watching and like basically jerking off, but like not admitting to myself I was gay, but like I was so into Taylor Kinney, and the reason Gaga's my number one, which we're gonna need to have the discussion of like who are our pop girls, and like
Of course.
Gaga is no longer the one I listen to the most, but just based on longevity and history, like I have to say Little Monster is my number one identifier, and like the reason for that, I love her music, but like the real reason for that is her early music videos, which are so legendary. You and I, Alejandro, Bad Romance, Marry the Night. Honestly, the Artpop film.
Yeah.
Like,
was that the Born This Way album cover where it was her body attached to the motorcycle?
Yeah.
Another piece of incredible
it's incredible
album art.
Although I will admit, like when that came out, I was a little bit of like I don't know what my deal was in high school, but I remember seeing that and being like, oh, I like wish she looked prettier.
Yeah.
And then they released the close-up that was just her face without the motorcycle, and I was like, oh, this looks better. But now I look back, I'm like, oh, that's the most genius thing ever. But in high school, I like, my head wasn't quite on straight back then.
Okay, I'm gonna pull out my phone for a moment so I can fully complete this story. I just have the most beautiful memory of you that day. And you know, the Grigio Girls was your take like 12 hours after that album came out.
That makes sense. I can't believe we were together on the day of Joanne. Joanne gets a really bad rep.
Oh,
and it got a really... Do you remember at the time, like, everyone, any party you went to, the only topic of conversation was, like, people being like, I hate Perfect Illusion. Like, Joanne is bad. And it was, like... Because that was, like, her grand return. And I was like...
Exactly.
And I honestly, at the time, recall being like, yeah, Perfect Illusion isn't... great, but like let's give her a chance.
Yeah, and you know, I think this album has has it stood the test of time, or am I just a gay super fan?
It has. I mean, it happens to be the one album of hers that I've seen twice in concert. Wow. Like I saw the Joanne World Tour twice by chance, and probably my favorite time I've seen her was the New York Joanne when we were up like where you're sitting now. We're about a yard apart for the listeners. And where I am is like the distance I was from her. God, and it was pouring rain. She got sick at that show in the pouring rain and canceled the rest of the tour. I mean, she did the Boston show and then canceled, I guess, because that's where I saw her second. But they were pulling people out of the nosebleeds who had cool outfits. And I got pulled with my friends. And we were in the very front, pouring rain. She's at the piano singing You and I. I'm right here. And I was like, holy fuck. And then Joanne like just hit for me because I had those memories associated with it. And like Diamond Heart, Sinner's Prayer, like there's great songs on Joanne.
Sinner's Prayer I always come back to.
Sinner's Prayer is my favorite.
I've now corroborated my own account of this night I'm about to remind you of. I think this was the night we'd been hanging out. Joanne had come out midnight the night before. We went to, I think it maybe is even still around. I don't know. It was that gay bar Babel. Babel.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, we need to go host.
But like Babel.
Where was it when you?
I think it was on like Avenue C. I'm not sure it still exists, but they were playing. I think it was AO was what they were playing. And like you were freaking out, and well, I also
I've
have
always
like
done the work.
You have always done the work. We commend you for your work, and I have an ongoing ailment, which is that I always struggle to hear music when it's playing in a loud room,
Oh,
or decipher what is playing. And you were freaking out, and I was like, "What is this?" But you somehow you knew all the words. Not that there's so many anyway, but
Ayo keeps it
you
to a
were into
sparse
it, and
amount
I
of
will
words.
always associate that day and that
Oh, that's
moment
so
with that
sweet.
album.
You have such a good memory.
But
That's so sweet.
Joanne, a major pop moment for
Major pop
me.
moment.
Though us real fans never abandoned during Artpop, which actually
No,
remains my favorite Gaga era of all
really.
time.
Yeah.
Of all
And what's
time
your favorite song on the album?
on
On
Artpop.
Artpop. For me, I
Ooh.
think it's Gypsy. But again, that's because I have this romantic streak where it's like, I don't want to be alone forever, but I can
Mm.
be tonight. And I'm like, as a girl who's been alone a lot in her life and doesn't want to be and also hasn't always been and I'm never alone. You know, we have our community, but
Mhm.
like that lyric just really strikes me. And Artpop, by the way, I almost loved it so much and was so out of tune with pop culture that I barely even realized there was such profound hatred for her during that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess I'll come back to this, which I wanted to say before, and I think it's why Gaga remains my number one too,
Yeah,
at least in terms of, um,
overall package.
yeah, an artist making work currently or still, but she to me transcends just pop or music. As she's an artist, and
Yeah,
that I think is what sets her apart.
totally.
And um, that album to me is just pure art. The
It is.
performances, the
Well, she's
videos,
an
the
actress too. Like I'm sorry, she's
yeah,
like a gifted actress. A Star Is Born, House of Gucci, Joker, which is hell on earth, but like
I
she's good in
liked
it.
it.
You
I
liked it?
liked
Oh, I'm so glad
it.
to hear that.
I mean, like, I yeah,
I
I kind
liked
of
it for the
loved it.
first
I
two
loved
acts.
it.
I was like, because I knew going in that people were hating on it. I also happened to be the personal assistant of the screenwriter for many years,
Oh
and
wow. Okay,
so I
you
knew
had
him.
baggage going
Well,
in.
if he's listening, nothing but respect and love, and I love your family, and all of you guys are great. But I went in knowing it had gotten really rotten reviews,
Mm.
and for the first two thirds, I was like on board. I was like, this is so weird, and like I'm kind of into it. But then the third act, when Gaga just disappears and then he gets brutally
Mm.
murdered, I was like, I actually am pissed off.
Yeah, somebody prefaced the movie for me as a setup for future Harley Quinn franchise, which
Oh, that could work
I could
if
see,
they do
and
that. But I think my real qualm was they abandoned Gaga and like she didn't even have like a resolution.
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, disappointing in that sense, but my what I kept hearing from people either before I saw it or after, the number one thing I was hearing or the question I was receiving was, is it actually a musical? And I was like, well, I guess, yeah, sort of.
It
I mean, it
is.
is.
I
It
mean, it
is
is.
actually a musical, but it's sort of, the music all descends from their like delusions. It's sort of fantasy in that way. It's like
Yeah,
they're
they're
anyone who was
crazy.
living in that world, like there with them, wouldn't have been experiencing a musical, but we are because we're experiencing their delusions. And then my brother, I think, I honestly I'm not even sure he had seen it at that point,
He's
but
heaven, by the way. Love
oh,
him. What a brilliant
he's
energy.
a sweetheart, and like kind of we fill in a lot of blanks for each other,
You
but
do too.
it's
You both
dangerous when we're
sort of
together.
what's the word? Compliment each other
We
too.
do, and honestly, maybe this what the point I'm about to make will somehow represent the two of us also. But um, I didn't put much thought into what like folie à deux means. Like
What does
the
it mean?
well, I think folie is crazy in French,
Oh, really?
but the it refers to kind of a craziness or delusion, in terms of mental illness, like experienced by two people. So the title alone kind of like sets the stage for where the musical element comes from. Is like it is this kind of like joint delusion, and she sort of entered the Joker's delusion, which I found quite beautiful, but I'll also, if Gaga's singing, I'm listening. I've been listening to
Totally.
the Harlequin album. I think
Oh, you
it's
listen to
yes, I
Harlequin.
think it's
You're
so
that crazy.
beautiful. I love her jazz albums. I mean, huge life regret. And
The
I'll
Vegas
probably yeah
residency.
that I never saw the
Are we
Gaga
not gonna
like
get
jazz
another
and
chance?
piano.
That's my dream is to see a jazz and
I
piano.
mean,
I could leave the. I mean, oh my god, I just accidentally said something sacrilege on the podcast, but like, I didn't need to see the enigma part of it, the
no.
pop part, because I've seen her do pop so many times, and like, no offense, but her wigs in that looked really weird.
Mm.
But the jazz and piano was necessary for me, and I never got it.
Yeah, I never got it either. And I mean, I love like she says it was Tony Bennett who looked at her one day and was like, "You're a jazz
Oh
musician."
my god.
And I completely agree. I mean, it's just her the way she can adapt to whatever role. It's
She's
perfect.
so
She can. I
chameleonic.
mean, I actually though God bless you, Renee Zellweger.
Of course.
I think Gaga is really the only other person who could have done that Judy Garland movie any justice because
Wow, I thought you were gonna say
Renee could have.
Roxy Hart, but
I mean,
yes.
she could have crushed that too.
Although I
I mean,
guess
Renee was
Gaga's more of
perfect in
a
that, but
Velma.
yeah, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, but
But yeah, Judy Garland just who else kind of embodies that like
fully like blazing star, like undeniable talent persona.
yeah, and
Yeah,
like
she would have been great in it.
pure performativity. Also, like I just love as a part of the well, and then there's that like recent Liza and Gaga moment at the Oscars from like
Well,
last year or
Gaga,
two
I
years ago.
actually weirdly happen to know someone who was one of
Brimbling.
the hosts of that Oscars. I
Ooh.
won't divulge any names for confidentiality's sake, but remember that year there were three hosts: Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and oh god, I'm blanking on her name.
Well, I guess we know the friend must have
Babbling.
been to one of those two.
Shit.
No, actually, I don't remember at all. Sounds like some Oscars bullshit to
Well, but
me.
anyway, Gaga wasn't aware of Liza's mental state at the time and was a consummate professional and made it work and was so
Yeah, I mean,
lovely to
I
an
even heard
icon.
that Liza didn't know she was going to be going out in a wheelchair until like minutes before that happened,
Really?
which, I mean, maybe this is just the PR machine, but which is, I guess, what her team at least suggests is why she was so kind of confused or rattled was because they were like, oh, we're going to put you in a wheelchair just so you know.
That's
So
crazy.
if
Because
that's
she's not
true,
in
it's
a
crazy.
wheelchair, like
I
on a
don't
typical
know,
day.
not
Okay.
that I'm aware of,
Okay.
but I was gonna say,
She
a
should
piece
have
of the
played
like,
Nessa Rose. I have to babble this, but like, sorry, Nessa
wow,
flopped.
yes, Nessa, maybe part two. We'll stay tuned.
Maybe Nessa will finally.
There's a
Holy
lot of
sh!
Nessa Rose slander going around the internet these days, and
Is there? Oh,
I
I thought it
can't
was just
blame the
me and my
internet.
girls. She just
No,
doesn't deliver. But also, you know what? Like, that's the character. Like, she's supposed to
yeah,
be kind of like dweeby and annoying. So maybe like
yeah,
she actually did deliver.
but I mean, she delivered that. But yeah, she's at least like as far as the like deep wicked lore goes, like turns out to be a pretty evil
Yeah.
character. Um, but I was gonna say Gaga to me would be perfect for that Judy or Liza role. Honestly, I just this is a Judy Liza history that I love, which is that like Judy Garland's. I think both her parents were like vaudeville performers.
Oh, really?
AKA her dad was gay, and then
Ah!
she married Vincent Minnelli, who was notoriously gay. I think wore like sparkles on his face.
Girls who marry gay guys are among the most important people we have,
Oh, could
and
not
among the
agree
most
more.
like tragic.
Tragic, but beautiful.
Yeah.
And then Liza's born, so she's like,
Liza's obviously the queen, the number one. Her performance in Cabaret is maybe my favorite of all time
oh no,
on screen.
so good.
Yeah.
And so she's like descends from gay men, and it's no wonder to me that like both those women were um always supported by gay men, and I don't know Gaga's family history in that
I
way,
know that
but
there's some conservative shit happening in the background of
okay,
her family.
but in a similar way has always had that like deep connection and respect of the gays.
Yeah, well, you
And
remember, I mean, that's another reason she's a number one is like back before Kurt Hummel, before things sort of simmered down a little bit, was her going up to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell with the
mm,
glasses at the podium and the speech. I remember like in college, we had to like critique speeches, persuasive speeches,
mm.
and dissect why they worked, and I chose that and just sort of highlighted how brilliant she was, and
You're
she's
like
just
the
everything.
ethos, the
No, the ethos,
pathos,
the pathos, and what's that third one? Logos.
logos.
Yeah, you had to
Yes,
outline all those three. Yes.
yes. She had it all.
But so, what are you? So, favorite Gaga album for you is Art Pop.
Art pop, yeah,
For me,
no
is
hesitation.
probably
But that doesn't mean it
Born
was
This
the
Way.
most. I think most meaningful to me was probably Born This Way. Um,
But Born This Way has songs I skip on it. Actually, like
yeah, me too.
Chromatica, maybe low key is currently the one I would do start to finish the most readily. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, Fame Monster, but you almost can't include those because they're
yeah,
too legendary.
agreed. Yeah, though I'd say like Chromatica was made to be an album that you listen to all at
I
once. The
sometimes
transitions
skip
between the
Fun
songs.
Tonight, low key.
Oh,
Sorry.
I love that
I know
one.
everyone
I skip,
does.
what is it?
All
A
the people, I
Thousand
love it.
Doves. I
Oh, I love Thousand Doves. You bet.
well, I also I just it's to me in part just a like I love Elton John obviously, but like the need
Sign
to
from above.
cling on to the relevant pop girls in order to maintain some
Yeah, his Dua Lipa shit. I'm
relevancy.
like, can you just
But
stop?
yeah, that was
Although that song's kind of good.
it is, but like
It's like, what is this?
but yeah, if it weren't like Dua Lipa and it's like a song that just ends up on the radio and it's like it's not offensive in any way. But anyway,
I
love that
do
album. To me, it's a no skip. But yeah,
Chromatica. Yeah, I would say
a
like Chromatica is
thousand,
maybe her
a
most consistent
thousand.
album. So I know that we share another. I would say like my three, if I had to pick, would be Gaga, Lana, Lord, and I know that I also have a
Mm,
Lanishan in the room with me
yes,
today.
yes. Oh my
And we
god.
recently got the news about the right person will
Yes,
stay.
and you know, I missed. I guess there was, to me, the most recent update on her upcoming album. As
Was
far as
Lasso.
I saw that, I saw that she like sort of
She sort of
announced that she'd
disavowed
like,
Lasso,
yeah, and then she'd sort of
which she
announced she'd
always does this.
changed gears
Yeah.
and was like, okay, the country was maybe a little
She always
corny.
announces an album and then it's
Yes.
like, I'm actually not going
Yeah,
to.
sorry, yeah. No, I was just talking about her last night, obviously, and
You guys
I was
got
like,
to everything
she
last
stays
night.
lying, you know,
Yeah.
and I love that. Another artist, or to me, she's a poet, but poets are artists too. Is that a hot take? I don't
No,
even think so.
it's just like, of course they are.
Yes, okay, good. Yes, but differently in a way that I would consider Gaga as an
No,
artist.
Lana is a poet and a lyricist, where Gaga is a performer. I think
Yeah.
is the distinction.
Okay,
They both
I
have
think
lovely
you're.
voices.
Yeah, no, I
that are
think
different.
you're
But I
totally
would say
right.
Lana's like main thing is like her cerebral
Hmm.
world building,
Yeah,
and Gaga's is her like consummate stage presence and like full ownership of who she is.
totally. No commitment to this persona. Where I guess ironically, Lana Del Rey is a persona.
It's a
Like
persona, but it's also like the truth.
it is.
Yeah.
Agreed. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
And that's why I think it's the most stupid criticism when everyone's like, "Oh, she's like putting on a character."
Yeah.
Which I'm like, for one thing, like if she is, who cares?
Yeah.
Like that's they all are. But for two, like she isn't. Like and for three, like she sort of is, but she's winking. And
Yeah.
it's like she's in on the sort of funny quality to it, but also like she's just being herself.
Oh my God,
I take such issue
Hilton.
with that critique.
A highlight of was that this year? It was this year, honestly. This is what I should think about this year when there's been so many shitty things that have happened to me. I was at some.
Sorry for everything, by the way. I don't know
Yeah, you
the full
should
extent.
be sorry,
It's my
bitch. You
fault,
should be.
and I
Yes.
want to atone.
I forgive you. It's
Yeah,
okay.
thanks.
You've caused a lot of hurt in my life, but
Why am I like wasted off this wine, by the way?
good. You should be. This is
It is the
drunk
day
art
before
pop, everyone.
Thanksgiving, like it's the
True. We're
holidays.
celebrating
Oh,
everybody, and we're thankful to be here. We're thankful for
yeah, what are we
God's
thankful for? We're
bounties.
thankful for God's bounty. We're thankful for Gaga,
The nectar
Lana,
of the gods, as
Lord,
Lana would
FKA
say.
Twigs, Addison Rae, which I want to get to some modern
Yes,
songs
yes.
soon. Too.
Okay. Highlight of my year, and I'm gonna just blanketly say this, and anyone who's listening, who considers themselves a highlight of my year, I hope you know me well enough to know that this is going to be the highlight of my life. Honestly, I was at this party in LA in February during the like Freeze Art Fair week, and it was at this party for the Serpentine Museum, which is like a UK institution.
I love the British.
I love the British too.
I love the British.
I love them too. I hate them also, but I love them too.
Things that were not correct, but I'm obsessed. Like,
No,
I'm an
me
Anglo-fucker.
too.
I basically like can't fall in love with you if you're not British.
Yeah. Well, we all have trauma, Hilton. Don't look a gift horse or a Brit in the mouth.
That is tea. But you know what? Wait, you know that? Do you watch 30 Rock?
Yes. Well, I mean, not currently, but I did, and I have. I watched it a lot.
Wesley Snipes comes on. He's like that British guy that she meets in the dentist office.
Oh,
and he's like
yes.
future husband. The character is Wesley Snipes. The actor is like the guy from Twilight who plays the main Volturi. But he like she's like saying something about like British people have bad teeth, and he's like, what do you mean? She's like, it's like a thing that people say, like it's sort of a known thing, and he's like, no it isn't, I've never heard that. Anyway,
and you know what, I am here for British slander because are they the original colonizers? That I don't know, but among the originals, yeah. So if they get shit for their teeth, like they can take that. They can take that.
Right. Plus, like having bad teeth is hot.
Yeah. Well, bad teeth is fine. Extent. Bad oral hygiene. Don't even look me in the eyes if you have bad oral hygiene. Right. It's going to be a waste of both of our times.
Yeah.
And a waste of suffering on my behalf.
Bad breath is not okay. Although I'll admit, like once in a while, I get really stressed out. I'm like, please, I can't have bad breath, and I work myself into a tizzy. But I could be like flossing a lot more.
Well, I've never perceived bad breath on you. Somebody told me recently that I have chronically good breath. I was like, that is one of the highest compliments I have ever received. It's constant fear of mine that I smell bad and that my home smells bad, because they're things you like go numb to.
Both those things are sometimes true of me. I'm gonna say, like, sometimes I smell bad, sometimes I do have bad breath, and sometimes my apartment smells bad. Like, all of those things are sometimes true.
Well, they're realities, and I'm sure they're true for me as well, but I overcompensate typically, and then people are like, oh wow, you smell so good. I'm like, well, it's because I fear that I smell horrible under all of this, but I should really just not say the second part and then just accept the compliment.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, fuck it. Like, we're allowed to be self-deprecating sometimes. Everyone's like, you should just accept it. And it's like, true. Well, maybe I want to deprecate slightly.
Yeah, please. My ego's already big. Like, just let me deflate it a little bit.
Let me do this work for all of us. Anyway, so you were at a party in LA.
Yes, and walked into this party, and one of the first things somebody said to me was like, Lana Del Rey is supposed to be here tonight.
Stop.
And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, stop. I was like, that's such bullshit. Like,
I'm gonna like.
I was like, that sounds fake as fuck. Like, have I heard it about Lana before? No, but like, have I heard that sentiment about somebody else before? Of course.
Yeah, that's like the main thing.
And didn't really think much of it, and this was at some like mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Most of this party was like, well, sadly I learned we were like outside this person's pool house. This is like the biggest home I've probably ever stepped foot in, and this was their pool house. But the whole party was like in the backyard, and it was dark or the sun set while we were there. And after about an hour or two at this party, I just turned around and Lana was standing like
Stop.
2 feet away from me.
I'm gonna pass.
And I was there with a friend. My brother was on this trip with me, but he had gone home or back to our hotel. He was like not feeling well that night. He is the most like shameless person about approaching celebrities that I know, and
Wow, some people just have that gift.
it is a gift, yeah. I mean, having no shame generally is just a gift, but
It is.
he'll
No,
he'll
totally.
approach anybody if he has something to say to them. And I was like, do I play it cool? But I was like, oh my god, no. Like, if I go home and tell my brother that Lana was at this party and I didn't say anything to her, like,
What would he
he's
have said
gonna
to her? Like, I'm a huge fan. Is that when you say he has something to say to people?
yeah, or just be like, can I take a photo with you?
Yeah.
And
Wow. And are they
But-
ever like, no?
yeah, one time he approached Heidi Klum when she was on a date, and the date said no. But he was like, okay,
Heidi
all right,
Klum
thank
isn't
you.
Married? God, there's hope for all
She
of us
was,
here.
I think, married to Seal. I'm not
Oh,
sure if
yeah.
she's married to anyone now, but she was dating this like art world
Why not so-
person
oh,
actually.
Artpop. That's wow.
But okay, so I turn around and Lana's there, and in like a split second, I'm like, well, this is it. Like, I
It's
have
time.
to say something, and I will really only ever approach a public figure if I do have something to say to them, like I care about their work or they mean something to me.
What did you say?
And I turn around, I was like, oh my god, hi Lana. I was like, I'm such a huge fan. I was like, I'm a real admirer of your work. I was like, actually, I just posted on Instagram today being like, did you know that I went to Erewhon twice today, like riffing on
Tunnel under
Ocean Boulevard.
That's brilliant, by the way.
And I was like, it would be an honor to share a cigarette with you. I was like, she was like, oh my god. She's like, I'm dying for a cigarette.
Oh my god,
And-
I'm gonna cry.
But in that exact moment, this like he's like public art world figure Hans Ulrich Obrist is his name, but he's like, I don't know if he's like curator of the Serpentine or like director of this museum that was hosting the party, comes over with cameras, and he's like, Lana, like, can we take you for some photos quickly? And she was like, I'm so sorry, like, just give me a minute. And
you are fucking
yeah,
kidding.
so
I'm gonna
I have
start-
Hans Ulrich. We have beef, babe, and we'll duke it out one day. And
But
I-
she. Oh, I thought you were saying that she was said to him no and stayed for the cigarette.
no,
Oh,
she was
fuck.
like,
Oh, I'm-
she just looked at me and she was like, sorry, just give me a
I'm
minute, because
so
like
sad. I
that's-
thought you meant she told him.
no, oh my god, that would have
Oh,
been
I was
sick.
like, this is the best story ever.
It would have been sick. And I lingered around. I mean, I was standing where I had been standing anyway, hung out for a while, and then I was like, well, sort of, but I was like, there just was never a good moment, and I didn't want to be so bothersome and reapproach her. So I let her do her thing, but I was like, so long as Lana's at this party, like, it's a cool party and I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So she stayed maybe another 2 hours. So I stayed another 2 hours. But I was like, there just still was never quite the right opportunity, and I didn't want to be like aggressive. But
No, you did the right
on
thing.
her
It would
way-
have been weird to pest her.
on her way out, she grabs my shoulder and is like, we'll have that cigarette another time, sweetie. And
Oh my god!
I was like, well, this is perfect. Like, I mean, it's LA, and like, I just don't think people
It's
smoke
LA.
cigarettes in LA like they do in New York. But I was
People
like,
are smoking these days,
she
though.
was
People
gracious, so gracious, remembered me, and
She's a
I
good
trust
person.
that she'll
She's a
remember
really
me
good person.
the next time I see her.
You will, and you're seeing her soon.
I
at
know
my
I
art show
will.
in this gallery.
Okay, perfect.
She's coming.
If you're listening, Lana.
Lana, you're coming. I'm just like gonna make that happen. It's my Thanksgiving wish.
Oh, well, that's then my Thanksgiving wish too.
Fuck colonialism, but
And
like here we go with my wish.
I've decided, and again, another life regret, though I know I'll have an opportunity to change this. I don't have any tattoos,
Neither
and
do I.
well, and Jews have like a holdup about tattoos.
Oh, do
There's
they?
like an old wives' tale that like you can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery if you have a tattoo.
What?
But it's like it's not true. It's like something from like the Torah about like being returned to the earth as you came, but then like
Okay, right.
why does every Jewish girl get a nose job, you know? It's like
And also,
it's just how like
circumcision,
moms
okay.
exactly
No shit.
true.
I'm
But it's like how moms scare their children and Jewish moms scare their children into not getting tattoos. But I was like, I just want one tattoo. I'm thirsting for a tattoo, and I want it
What
to
would
be
you
a
get?
heart on the back of my right arm. And I'm like, well, next time I see Lana, like she's gonna draw a heart on the back of my arm and I'll have it tattooed. And I will wait to get this tattoo until that moment happens.
Wait, why do I need to copy you?
Well,
Would you be interested in making it a joint thing?
absolutely.
That could be our
Yeah.
thing.
I'm just like this. That
Maybe I'll
should
have her
be
draw a
it. That should have
star
been the
on me or
moment.
something. Why not having a
Wow.
star? Or a moon, a crescent moon.
That would be beautiful too. And
Lana draw.
I know she would be into it. I just really, I'm like, her relationship to the art she makes, I find so beautiful. I think
In what sense?
I just don't think she's that attached. I mean, I know she's not that attached to the like commercial like
Yeah, she's
relationship
willing
to the
just make
art.
it
Yeah, I mean, I think
what
like
it is.
Norman fucking Rockwell was like the most sort of like commercially packaged album she ever made, and probably the most like critically received album she
And
ever made.
undeniably, like her masterpiece. Like that is probably the best album of all time.
I think so too. Another like no skip for me.
Yeah.
But
Once in a while, I skip Next Best American Record. No shade. I like to
okay,
be
I can't say that's
Most
a
people
bad
can.
skip.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think that's a bad skip.
Okay.
Just
I
as
know
long
people
as you're
who
not
will-
skipping Mariner's Apartment Complex.
Girl,
which,
that's my favorite song
me
ever written.
too. Me too.
I would say Happiness is a Butterfly, Mariners,
Mm.
and Norman title track are my 3 favorite songs of all
Oh.
time.
Wow. Thank you, Lana.
Not in order.
Thank you, Lana.
Mariners is my favorite of the whole album.
Oh, me
I
too.
cry every time I hear it.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I actually, why I'll never not go to karaoke at Winnie's. Someone took me to Upstairs Bar. Maybe I was telling you this on your birthday, actually. Someone took me to Upstairs Bar,
Is
which
that
does
another
like
karaoke thing?
another karaoke place, but it's like similar style to Winnie's, where it's just like karaoke to the whole bar. And I requested Mariner's Apartment Complex, and they were like, okay, like it'll come on in about like 20 minutes. And like an hour later, I went back up to the bar. I was like, where the fuck is my song? They were like, oh my God, were you
Oh,
the
you
one who
did tell
requested
me this. You did tell
Lana?
me
I was
this.
like, yeah, that was me. They were like, yeah, we don't have that
That's
in our
bullshit.
catalog.
Like, go on YouTube, bitch.
Well, that's what Winnie's does. which
Winnie's
is why
does
I'm
it
like,
right.
they would never
I
have
had
that
Beautiful
issue.
People, Beautiful Problems, which I sang on my birthday.
Yeah.
and, like,
oh my
Not
God.
everywhere has
Was it? Did you sing national anthem?
No,
or
that was
your friend?
Amy.
Oh my
from
God.
Big Nose Full Body, the wine shop I worked at.
Well, that was a delicious choice. I
sang
thought.
It's All Coming Back to Me now. Celine Dion is my big
Okay.
number. Were you there for that?
I'm actually not sure.
Then you
but,
weren't because that was.
But
that
I
was a big
love that
showstopper.
song, of
Yeah, yeah.
course. I mean, just
love
a
the message.
showstopper.
Just like if I can get into the emotional message of a song, obviously I care about the melody and the lyrics and all and the production and all that, but like a big part of me loving a song is like the emotional fulcrum. Like
Oh, me too.
It's All Coming Back to Me now, like harping on the past. Like
Yeah.
I'm a huge proponent of that.
Oh no, this is why like Whitney will forever be one of my, if not my favorite artist, but one of them. Favorite Leo, definitely.
Favorite
Uh,
Leo.
Yeah,
That's a big statement.
iconic Leo. I know, and Madonna's in that category too. So
Damn.
risky thing to say, but for me, it's like the emotion of it. But I was gonna say Lana. I think just her approach or like connection to her own art is so like not precious in a way, and it's the way she lives her life, which I so admire. Which is like her marrying this like alligator like bayou tour guide. I'm like, you know what, like they're
Like, do your
gonna
thing.
get divorced, but like
But like,
it's
just
like,
live life and don't strive. I mean, don't insist on perfection. Strive for
yeah,
perfection, maybe, but
no,
don't
it's like,
insist on it.
I think where I'm probably the most, well, no, maybe this is more Carrie Bradshaw than Charlotte York, is like, I just love love, and
I love love.
I don't care if it doesn't last forever. And I think the most beautiful things in the world, is like I experience almost every day, like working with art and artists, is like usually the most beautiful things are ephemeral and they don't last forever.
Yeah,
And I think,
that's
so
beautiful.
what if you get married and you get divorced? Is like, you had love. Like, there was
Totally.
some on my gay Twitter feed,
We
I saw
both
some
can
like
relate to that deeply.
screenshot. Somebody, Lana, posted something that was like, there will always be a happy ending. And somebody commented like, well, like, um, what if like this relationship isn't working out, or like, what if I'm, I don't know, what if I'm not happy? She was like, then it's not the ending. Like,
Oh,
that is
I'm gonna lose my
so
damn
beautiful. I was
shit.
like, that's so Lana. I was like, it's just this like optimism and like understanding that like
But
you'll
also, your point about her
the
not
right
being
one will
the right
stay.
one will stay. I actually have a feeling this is going to be her next
I
masterpiece, this
think so.
album.
I'm with
You
you.
mentioned how she's not precious with her art and is okay with like putting things out just like after she finishes them and not like obsessing over it. I really relate to that with like my drawing technique, just while we're on the
Mm.
topic of art as well. Is like I tend to just start drawing things with a pen without sketching out beforehand and just kind of going for it, and mistakes inevitably happen. I'm like, oops, like I sort of messed up their mouth, or like I this the perspective of it, I have like the arm is no longer in the right place, or it's like going through their head. And I like that. And that's, I mean, one, it's laziness of like, I don't feel like sketching it and getting it to be perfectly
Mm.
realistic looking. But two, it's like, I actually am leaning into that as like my style of like, I'm going to take this and let the mistakes then dictate what I do next to justify the mistake and make it work. And then I end up creating these big tableaus that I'm really proud of, that are full of like accidents and mistakes, but ultimately end up making it what it is.
Yeah, I mean, again, pre-podcast, but I sensed everything Hilton and I spoke about pre-podcast would just come up
We talked about a lot of
during
interesting things
podcast.
pre-podcast,
We just get
including
right
like
into
black
it.
mold.
True. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That one I'm not sure we need to bring back up,
No, that's
honestly.
private.
But I was telling Hilton my favorite uh cultural moments for him was his, it was for Out Magazine, right? You were
Oh, this,
interviewing
yeah, this. Oh my,
people on
this
the
is
red,
perfect
was
for
it
the
red carpet or
mistakes.
at a
It
party?
was red carpet. It
I just
was the
remember Seth
Writers Guild
Meyers was in
Awards. Seth
it,
Meyers was there, and then there were like a bunch of sort of lesser celebrities.
and none of the audio captured, only the video. And I feel like many people would have just said like, well, that didn't work, I guess like this is unusable. And Hilton went through and dubbed it all.
Well, I
I'm sure.
actually threw a tantrum when I looked at the footage the next day. I was so excited because it was like Seth Meyers, and I remember like the questions and answers being really funny, and I like was doing really well. And then I opened it, none of the audio works, and I threw a chair across the room in the out offices and was like screaming. I was already known at
Wow.
that point as like the crazy brat of the department, but
So they
my
knew you
boss was like, "You
well.
should just like record over it." I mean, Out was he was crazy to suggest that. This was like an old British guy, and he's like, he's the editor in chief. He's like, just like record over it. You're funny. And so I did. I did it in two takes. The first take, I was like, I bet I can do better. The second take, I was like, this is perfect. And I published it, and it ended up being by far the like thing I'm known for the most, and the most successful thing I ever did. To the point where I'm like, should I do more of that? Maybe I should go back and find my old footage and like cut some
Wow,
things
just
together.
redub it.
Yeah.
I know it was so brilliant to me. It's just like embracing the accident
Yeah.
and like ended up making I mean, kind of probably like useless journalistically, but like a
Sure.
piece of art. Like,
It was art.
it's
Like, put that in my
here
art show.
watching Seth Meyers' lips move and it's Hilton Dresden's voice coming out. What is better? What is
He's funny. I
better?
mean, some really cool people reached out to me about that, and I'm really proud of that.
Who else was in that video?
The
Or did you?
girl, there was like this show where this girl, you remember she had like a black dress and she looked kind of goth. I forget what she was in. It was the Writers Guild Awards, so it's a lot of writers, so it's kind of they're less recognizable.
Well,
Oh, what's that one girl's name? Who has Amber Ruffin? I think she was in it.
I don't know.
She's
Sorry,
a talk show
Amber
now.
Ruffin.
She wrote on Jon Stewart.
Oh, okay.
Wait, so crazy pivot, but I want to. We've already hit an hour and 35 minutes.
Wow.
I want to talk about modern pop quickly,
Yes.
like the songs of right now, because I have two basically that are my front runners for song of the year.
Ooh, okay. Actually, this is. I love the game of the Grammys, so
Me
I'm
too.
curious
I'm
to
obsessed with
hear
awards.
what you think.
Neither of these were nominated.
Oh.
The nominations.
Oh, this
are
is your
out.
personal
These
nomination.
are my personal taste.
Okay.
Of what was nominated, I can't even remember. I think the Grammys are probably the most rigged, stupid of the four major awards. I think they just like are fully bought by publicists, and I never agree with what they choose, and I think they're bullshit. But this year, I can't remember. I think Birds of a Feather, Billie Eilish is nominated, which I guess of the nominees could be my choice. I mean, I would love Gaga to win Song of the Year, and I'm pretty sure her piece of shit song with Bruno Mars, Die With A Smile, is nominated.
I think you're
which
right.
is stupid, but like I do want Gaga to win Song of the Year.
I
So
think
I
Billie.
or Beyonce, Texas Hold'em. Billie will win because she wins every Grammy
I
she's
know.
nominated for.
She's.
Which I love her, but like I am a little like, ooh, someone's calling at the gallery.
Audience, please forgive us. A moment I feared might happen. Our gallery is open to the public right now, and our doorbell is ringing. So don't mind this brief pause.
Oh my god.
I commissioned a painting from my friend and great artist Sean Flynn. So this is the much awaited moment. Though he's aware that there is a live podcast session being recorded.
Well, don't let this get in the way of your business dealings.
No, but maybe we should
pause.
Well, no, maybe we should just rapid fire our like hot takes and let this hour and a half plus interview.
Perfect. And then I want to give you a chance to plug what's coming up for the gallery. Yes. Okay. But my rapid fire pop takes are Eusexua FKA Twigs, which I think is a masterpiece. The music video, I don't know if you've seen.
Oh, I have.
Is heaven. I think it's the best music video I've ever seen, rivaling even early Gaga. And then my other song is Diet Pepsi, Addison Rae.
Incredible song.
And what are yours?
Actually, right now I've been listening a lot to Tate McRae's new song.
Oh, really?
Who's not really a pop girl I feel too attached to. Two Hands, excellent song. And
I don't know Two Hands.
It's good. I love I don't know, I love the like gaming of all of this. Sean Flynn has arrived, everyone. For those wondering where Hilton's giggle just arrived from. I love the like artistry of making a perfectly crafted pop song, and I respect that art form. I think, well, you know what? I'm gonna give some like steaming Sammy Kapp Grammy predicting tea, because last year, though I didn't publicize my choices, I got all the big four categories correct as to who was gonna win.
Even
because
with,
it
like,
is
wasn't
a
it
game.
like Reba or someone?
Oh,
or maybe that was a few years ago.
Was that last year or was it 2 years ago?
Actually,
Reba
I don't even
won.
think it was Reba. It was like some other.
No, it was. You're right. No,
Wait,
Reba. Yeah. Was that last year or 2 years ago? Well, last year was like Miley won like record of the year for Flowers.
Yes, which we love Miley.
Taylor Swift won.
That's so
for
annoying
Midnight
for me that she's gotten so many
me
Grammys.
too. But this is like the game of it, because it is a wide voting body, but like you just have to like game into it what people are looking for, like commercial performance versus like artistry. So I don't know, I'm gonna give like album of the year. I'm like, to me it's could only go to three: Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, or Chappell Roan.
Yeah.
I think it has to be those three. I
would
think
hope
Chappell's
it
like a
goes to
shoe-in
Chappell
for
because
best
of
new
the
artist.
other two already having so many.
Yeah, I mean, I think sadly we must assume Beyonce's not going to win Album of the Year.
That would be great, even though that album isn't really that good.
No, I enjoyed it, but am I still listening? No. The duet with Miley, that was sick though. That's up for I think best country song or Body country duet or something like that, which really I think will win. But it's not gonna go to Taylor if I really, really had to think about it, just because she won last year.
I mean, she's won for the past like 4 albums she's put out. Yeah, it's crazy.
So I think, I don't know, it's a toss up to me between Chappell Roan and Billie.
Billie already has won so many.
She's 2 Oscars. She has 2 Oscars. That's crazy.
But both of them were deserved. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but sometimes it's so almost equally distributed where the awards go. So I think like Billie's gonna get record or song of the year for Birds of a Feather. And maybe. I'm kind of going to give Chappell Roan a little sweep and really give her album of the year.
Much. I actually haven't listened to the album, but just based on your arguments here, I'm like, yeah, she should win.
I mean, it's complicated. I think there's also a world where Sabrina Carpenter is even in contention.
Oh, and I just saw her LA show, and she was great.
Oh, and she's great. I mean, and she made like a perfect.
It's a great album.
Oh, it's Merce.
Yeah, Merce.
Oh my god.
Actually, I just recorded an episode with.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, hi Merce.
Yeah. Hi, Merce.
We went to NYU together.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah, I guess so. I've known Merce before I knew you. Yeah. Maybe I was a sophomore or junior when I met Merce.
Wait, so your friend is here.
Yeah.
I want to wrap us up, but can you plug your current shows and upcoming shows?
Well, our current show, which there was just some controversy drama at our opening. Yes. The artist Lucian Smith just opened a show called A Day Above Ground. Is a good one. 2 new series of paintings. Was doing a performance at our opening where he spent the duration of the opening in a dog crate, where a violent protester came in and threw eggs at him while in his cage. You know, it's unclear. I've heard he was not the first that she egged this week, so but clearly worth seeing at least just for that. And in the coming year or coming season, we have a show with a great painter, Beverly Sems. She works also in a artist duo called Car Wash Collective. She makes these like beautiful textile based paintings and sculpture, and so this will be the first show she's presented of her own work alongside this artist duo she works with Jennifer Manitti. So that's one to watch. We're gonna have a show with Drake Carr, a fantastic painter based in Brooklyn. Just did a collaboration with Vaquera. Beautiful t-shirt. Sold out in minutes. Actually, Sean Flynn, who is here right now, borrowed and never returned my Drake Carr Vaquera collab t-shirt. But I'm also a generous lender of my clothes.
I would love him to pass that t-shirt.
Well, I think we could make that happen.
Really?
I would probably.
I'm a
huge
hot. Vaquera fan. They're like
it's
my favorite
so good.
fashion label.
I'm gonna leave the audience like thirsting for a little more, so I'll end my plug there. But come to Kapp Kapp, 86 Walker Street, 4th floor, baby. Hilton's here right now, and if that's not reason enough to come to this gallery, I don't know what is. Oh my god, also Hilton, I'll never forget when you made that tuna casserole and put vanilla soy milk in it. We just
talked about that on another
oh
episode.
My god, so oh my god. And I think you ate it because you refused to waste the food.
Well, because all of the dairy-free products from this organic market in Carroll Gardens costs like $20 each ingredient. Which, by the way, today, I'll have to babble this. I shoplifted like probably over $100 from Whole Foods. I had a whole tote bag full of stuff I didn't pay.
Okay, just be careful. This is the news I spread, is that it seems like you can get away with robbery at Whole Foods. This is like Target too. But the cameras in the sky, the eye in the sky, they're using like facial recognition. So they let you get away with it until you hit like $1,000, and then they can come after you for like, I don't know if that's a felony or what, but it's until you hit a certain threshold. But they are watching.
Oh, that's tea. Luckily,
so I hear.
I almost
so I
never
hear.
go to Whole Foods,
Fear
but it was
tactics.
Thanksgiving, and I needed duck lard for this Allison Roman.
Oh wow.
Stuffing.
Okay, Allison. So this one's on you, babe.
It's all on Allison.
Well,
it's been such an honor to have you here, Sammy. Thank you so much.
Well, technically, I'm having you here, but you're having me on the podcast, so it's so confusing. Yeah,
it's so confusing sometimes to be a girl. We didn't even get to that, but other contender for Song of the Year.
Yeah,
not nominated.
In the heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sadly, Charlie's gonna get some Grammys this year. At least one.
I would actually want her to win Album of the Year.
Yeah, she's not going to, but I want that too. That would be sick. Cool, but she's gonna get some Grammys, pop categories.
Yeah,
though.
Pop categories for Charlie. Anyway, love you. Let's go say hi to your friends. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, baby.
Goodbye, Babbles.
Bye, Babbles.
Talk about all the things that I want to talk about. We'll just keep talking. We'll just keep talking. Just keep talking. Talking. For so long. Oh, we're babbling on. We're babbling
Babbling On is created, produced, and edited by Hilton Dresden. The theme song is by Benny Cortoletta, featuring Callie Baker, and is produced by Benny Cortoletta and Jack Krause. The artwork is by Hilton Dresden. Audio consultation from Kenzie Woodrow and Dallas Seeker. Special thanks to Alec Cohen, Natalie Rotter-Waitman, Molly Montgomery, Nick Krause, and to everyone who has subscribed to Babbling On the Substack and refused to shut the fuck up.